Hello, everyone. My name is Aaron Perez, and I work as a pavements engineer at the North Dakota DOT's Materials and Research Division. I'm here today to give you a brief presentation using the slides that I presented with at the Dakota Asphalt Pavement Association, or DAPA conference back in early January of 2026. This presentation is a summary of the North Dakota asphalt paving season in 2025. First, I'd like to go over the NDDOT's construction program over the years. Looking at 2026, you will see a jump in available funding compared to the previous years. This increase, however, is mainly due to a few large federal discretionary grant projects that have now received their funding allocations. These make up about $400 million, with some of them being multi-year projects. So if you remove those $400 million worth of projects, the 2026 funding looks eerily similar to 2025. Here are a few slides just as a general hot mix asphalt update in North Dakota for 2025. We had about 1.4 million tons of asphalt bid in 2025. Now, there is a caveat to that. Many of those large federal discretionary fund projects were bid in late 2025 to be constructed in 26. So they do inflate the numbers, and it isn't exactly what's put on the road in 25. Of the total tonnage bid, about 42% of it is being utilized with RAP, or recycled asphalt pavements, in the mix. And now looking at what was actually put down on the road in 2025, the average RAP on those projects was about 20%. Continuing on, here's a breakdown of the FAA's bid in 2025. The majority was FAA 43, with FAA 45 not too far behind. And as far as FAA 42, there was not a whole lot of tonnage bid. Binder grades used. The majority was a 58H minus 34. In total, the minus 34 oils was about 86% of all the mix that was put out in 25. There is a reason for this, and I'll go over that in a later slide. Going over the density results of 2025 and comparing them to previous years, we hit personal records with both mainline density and longitudinal joint density. The mainline density increased to an average of 94.3%, again, personal record, while our longitudinal joint jumped to an average of 93%, personal record. Compared to previous years, there's been a general trend of increasing density from each year onto the next. That being said, I'd like to thank our contractors for both our mainline and longitudinal joint density averages and increases over the years. Especially when you look at longitudinal joint density, 93% just a few years ago would have been seen as a fantasy. So thank you, contractors, to your investments in our efforts and your efforts in increasing our density numbers. Getting into incentives in 25, for our ride incentive, we were just under $200,000 that was paid out. We had an average IRI of about a 43.6. Just wanted to note for ride, this is not on every HMA project. We place a special provision on projects that meet a certain criteria. And that being said, we only did a total of 6 ride jobs last year, which compared to previous years is quite low. For mainline density, our average pay factor was 102%, which that average falls into our second highest pay band when you're looking at the 430 portion of the spec book. Pilot projects completed in 25. A few things we did were intelligent compaction, paver monothermal profiler, percent within the limits, high RAP, which for us in North Dakota is considered 35% and require the contractor to meet that. And this project also had percent within the limits. We have done previous high RAP jobs, just not with PWL also associated with it, and then a machine guidance milling job. Pilot projects upcoming and planned for 2026. Again, more intelligent compaction, paver monothermal profiling, and percent within the limits. These 3 topics are used as special provisions, but we're actively trying to put together guidance so that we can now automatically place these on projects that meet certain criteria. And also just be placed where the district would like it. More to come on this as we come up with more guidance. We are doing another high RAP with 35%. After doing a couple high RAPs, the performance testing went as we would have thought for a mix with high RAP. For the next one, we're hoping to open it up to the use of rejuvenators and performance testing at mix design, as well as looking at guiding that targets AC content at mix design. And then we have an FDR with emulsion job, and I will talk on this here in a few slides. Couple spec book changes in the 2025 book. The coring for density in the past has been full depth, now updated to obtain a core depth to 2 inches below the planned paving depth. And then also a requirement to provide calibration info for QCQA lab equipment. In the past, this was previously not a requirement. The HMA selection guide, which we are trying to update if we can every year. This is now on our external facing websites under materials and research. This is the same document that our pavement designers use for all improvement strategies greater than a structural improvement or greater. But we're encouraging our designers for PM jobs to use this, as well as cities, counties, or any other local agencies. A couple things that have changed is our FAA type thresholds, our binder grades thresholds, and the biggest thing is that we are removing the -28 binder. We are going in full implementation mode to the -34. Now I know there's some guidelines here too. It's a little small, but if you're looking at the actual document itself, it should be a little more clear. But one thing we're looking at here is how some of like shale or just high absorption aggregates are affected. A lot of this through performance testing, but we're trying to make some updates here in our plans in order to try to battle that absorption and add a little more AC into the mix. E-ticketing, planned full implementation in 2026. So what's going to see e-ticketing? Aggregates paid by the ton, asphalt paid by the ton, and concrete for roadway paving. For concrete, as of right now, does not include curb and gutter, sidewalks, bridges, and others, only concrete used for roadway paving. So to come back to this here, FDR with emulsion, this will be in a special provision form. We have a project selected at Highway 1, Tacoma to Langdon. This was bid in November 2025. It is the first time using an emulsion in an FDR here. And I guess the question we usually get is, why are we doing this? Other northern climate states are using it and feel like it works really well with roadways and areas that deal with frost heaving. And now we're not getting rid of cement, but we will actually be in the next few years doing this one, a cement treated FDR and just a regular FDR with no stabilization at all. So we're just seeing this as another tool in the toolbox for us, and we're excited to see how it performs. Highly modified asphalt. So this all started in Utah with the Utah DOT. So they started using HiMod in 2023. And now in the last season in 2025, they actually put out around 500,000 tons of HiMod asphalt in their states. As I said, they're seen as the creators of this. They've been reaching out and doing webinars and talking to other state DOTs, and we've been trying to learn from their experience. Montana DOT did their first project in 2025, and they already have more planned on the way. We've been in pretty direct contact with them and learning from their experience for when we'd like to try this. This is just a national level topic right now. It's really hot. We've been hearing great things from, again, Utah, Montana, then also industry like NCAT, and just looking at the feasibility of using this mix and many other positives gained. So what type of roadway are we looking for in North Dakota? Something with high traffic would be a start, maybe targeting something with interstate overlay on existing concrete. But we are looking to see if we could find something to construct here for the 2027 construction season using our first HiMod. So we're part of a pooled fund, the Demo to Advance New Pavement Tech. In this pooled fund, we're partnered with NCATS. Since we built the test sections for field validation in 2024, we're now on to the last portion of this pooled fund, that is develop BMD specifications and implement through pilot projects. The plan is to start putting together a stakeholder group, which has already actually been done, and it's similar to what we did with our validation project in 2024, and to work with NCATS on the development of BMD specifications. So as I said, as of today, that group has already been assembled. Our hope is that our benchmarking efforts will assist in this. We've been benchmarking now for a few years. And as of right now, we're targeting pilot projects to be built in 2027 as well. I just wanted to touch here on intelligent paving technologies just in general. So to highlight a project done in Grand Forks in 2025, one project had intelligent compaction, paver monothermal profiling, e-ticketing, dielectric profiling system, which is for research only purposes, and a tethered drone with thermal camera, again, for research purposes only. Special thanks to Kurt Dunn and John Stork. Kurt's been our resident VEDA expert, which VEDA is the tool used to put all these technologies together into one place and analyze. He's put a lot of effort towards analyzing these different technologies and finding trends and is very passionate about it. And John Stork's been in charge of our research efforts with our dielectric profiling system and helping advance the technology through another pooled fund we're part of with NDDOT. Our plan is to continue to use these technologies and advance with the industry, but it's pretty great to see all these things on one project and to be able to analyze the data that we see. So with that, thank you for your time. Here's my information if anyone would like to reach out with any questions. Have a great day, and thank you again for your time.